What? Hey everyone, Henriello here, welcome back. Right now we are going to watch The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes from 1970. I'm fairly familiar with Sherlock because I've read a couple of his books from the Great Illustrated Classics, if you know the series of the books. I've only read The Hound of the Baskervilles and another book title called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And this movie is called The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. So I hope that there's no... I hope it's not The Hound of the Baskervilles, because then I would know how the story ends. But I doubt it. Sherlock Holmes, there are so many cases and so many books, and I've only read a couple, so I'm pretty sure that this will be a story I've never come across before. And I'm looking forward to seeing another one of Sherlock Holmes' adventures. So let's get started.
Somewhere in the vaults of a bank in London is a tin dispatch box with my name on it. It contains certain mementos of my long association with a man who elevated the science of deduction to an art.
Okay. 221 Baker Street.
In my lifetime, I have recorded some 60 cases demonstrating the singular gift of my friend Sherlock Holmes. The Hound of the Baskervilles to his mysterious brother Mycroft and the devilish Professor Moriarty. We were returning from Yorkshire, where Holmes had solved the baffling murder of Admiral Abernethy.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
By measuring the depth to which the parsley had sunk in the butter on a hot day.
Oh.
Criminals are as unpredictable as head colds. You never quite know when you're going to catch one.
I'll unpack your bags.
Actually, I don't dislike women. I merely distrust them. The twinkle in the eye and the arsenic in the soup. I only resort to narcotics when I'm suffering from acute boredom, when there are no interesting cases to engage my mind. An urgent appeal to find some missing midgets. By now, they have been smuggled to Vienna, dressed as little girls in organdy pinafores. They will be carrying bouquets of flowers, and concealed in each bouquet will be a bomb with a lit fuse.
You really think so?
Not at all. The circus owner offers me £5 for my services. That's not even a pound a midget. Obviously, he's a stingy blighter, and the little chap simply ran off to join another circus.
Sounded so promising.
Would have been a pretty interesting case. Oh my god. What is he doing? It does sound like a dying smoker.
It is sometimes vital to distinguish between, say, the ashes of a Macedonian cigarette and a Jamaican cigar. So far, he has classified 140 different kinds of ashes.
All right, if you gentlemen want to stay and suffocate.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that room.
How I envy you your mind, Watson. My mind rebels against stagnation. It's like a racing engine tearing itself to pieces because it's not connected up with the work for which it was built.
It's the final performance of the Imperial Russian Ballet.
Why should someone send us 2 free tickets?
You mean somebody wants to lure us into a trap?
Somebody wants to kill me.
Kill you?
That's right. It's a plot to bore me to death. I detest ballet.
It's Swan Lake.
Oh, this is called Swan Lake. Okay.
That swan isn't really a swan. It's an enchanted princess.
Oh.
The great Petrova. They say 12 men have died for her. 6 committed suicide, 4 were killed in duels, and 1 fell out of the gallery of the Vienna Opera House.
That's only 11.
The man who fell from the gallery landed on top of another man in the orchestra.
Oh, that's sad. I pity the man that fell on.
How is your health?
My health?
Any insanity in your family? Diabetes? Asthma?
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Madame Petrova, she has problem.
Can you be more specific?
Certainly not. There will be little celebration backstage. Madame requests your presence.
We'd be delighted.
You're invited also. I must prepare you. This is not ordinary case.
It's only the extraordinary that interests me.
Вы меньше ростом, чем я ожидала.
Madame says You are shorter than she thought.
Oh, I didn't mean to be.
Madame is great admirer of yours. She has read every story. Her favorite is Big Dog from Baskerville.
The Hound.
I'm afraid it loses something in translation.
I thought Sherlock Holmes understood a lot of languages, right? Maybe I was wrong.
Madame says it is yours.
Mine?
For services you will render. She's been dancing since she was 3 years old. She's now 38.
I must say she doesn't look 38.
That is because she is 49.
What?
Madame has decided to leave ballet and spend life bringing up her child. Problem is, how to find father.
Oh, is he missing?
Correct. We must have father, because without father, how could there be child?
So, wait.
The whole thing is still in the planning stage.
Do they want that kind of service from Holmes?
But surely there are other men, better men.
To tell truth, you were not first choice.
Ouch.
Nietzsche.
Oh, absolutely first-rate man.
Too German. Then Tchaikovsky. It was catastrophe. Women, not his glass of tea.
Glass of tea.
Madame is very happy with her final choice.
Madame must not be too hasty. She must remember that I am an Englishman. We are not the most romantic of people.
We don't want sentimental idiots falling in love, committing suicide.
I am not a free man.
But you are bachelor.
A bachelor, living with another bachelor for the last 5 years. 5 very happy years.
He's going for a Tchaikovsky approach.
The point is that Tchaikovsky is not an isolated case.
Okay.
You mean you and Dr. Watson?
Believe me, madame, the loss is all mine.
Почему вы не выяснили это раньше?
I mean, she can pick some other guy. Brains and intellect are not genetic. At least I don't think so. Dang, they're just telling everyone, and there's gonna be gossip. Oh, okay. Watson's gonna find out something's wrong.
What's going on?
You don't have to pretend. Mr. Holmes told us everything about you and him.
About me and him?
Time to get out of there.
Halt! There you are. You wretch! You rotter! What do you have to say for yourself?
Good, accurate throw.
How could you invent such a dastardly lie? It seemed like the only way to get out of it without hurting her feelings.
And what about my feelings? And my reputation?
Solid disgrace? Ostracized?
We must take desperate measures. We must stop this talk. Maybe if we got married.
What?
Then they'd really talk.
Yeah. What? You're too drunk, man. Go to sleep.
You have an enviable record with the fair sex.
Damn right. You can get women to vouch for you too, can't you, Holmes? I hope I'm not being presumptuous, but there have been women in your life.
The answer is yes. You're being presumptuous.
Holmes could have just said he was gay, but he didn't have to involve Watson in it, right?
Were you expecting someone?
Not at this hour.
Maybe Mrs. Hudson is entertaining.
I never found her so.
Who are you, miss? What happened to you?
I was driving down the embankment, and there she was, in the water, drowning.
Why did you bring her here?
I found this in her hand. 221B Baker Street. You want her, it's 2 and 6. Or shall I throw her back in the river?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, you can't let him do that.
Watson, you better accept delivery.
Look at this. She's had a nasty blow in the head. So it would appear that she was the victim of a deliberate attack. Give my bag, will you?
Can you think of your own name?
No.
She's obviously had a concussion, which often leads to temporary amnesia.
La femme élégante. Vous êtes française?
Je ne suis pas française.
How can she say she's not French in French?
Vous êtes belge de Bruxelles?
Oui.
Is your name Gabrielle? And your husband's name is Emile? What are you doing in London?
I don't know.
What happened at the river? Think! Pensez!
That's enough, Holmes. I will not permit you to question her in this condition. Put her to bed, my bed. I'll sleep on the couch.
Come on. It's just temporary amnesia. How temporary is it?
It depends on the extent of her injury.
The sooner we solve the case, the sooner we can get rid of her.
How is it that these logo came off when she fell in the water, but not the words 221B Baker Street?
Is that you, Emile? I thought I would never find you. It's been such a long time. I bought myself an expensive negligee. A pink negligee. With marabou feathers. Come, my love. Come here.
They're on her hand when she was holding that paper, right?
What are you doing?
301.
Dr. Watson?
Would you mind planting your knee in the small of my back?
Yes, I would.
Please, I'm in excruciating pain. Give it a good slap. No, show no mercy. Bear down on me.
Oh, wow.
Bless you.
Dr. Watson, she's gone.
Holmes! She's gone!
Well, I never.
If I didn't know you better, I might suspect you'd taken advantage of the young lady.
I did take advantage of her. Would you hand me the butter knife, please?
Of course. You did what?
Thank you.
Oh, he found the luggage. Is that the luggage? Oh, 301 has the ticket where she kept the luggage.
Remember that piece of soggy cardboard with our address on it? It was a luggage ticket. The number had rubbed off on my hand. Good morning, Madame Valadon. You are Gabrielle Valadon?
Which one of you is Sherlock Holmes?
Dr. Watson is the handsome one. That's the way he affects most women. You came to London looking for your husband, right?
We were married 5 years ago in the Congo.
Where your husband was working in a copper mine.
How did you know?
Your wedding ring is made of copper.
He invented a new kind of air pump and was hired by an English company, Journal Limited. 3 weeks ago, his letters stopped. So finally, I decided to go to that address.
32 Ashdown Street.
It's just an empty store. So I tried to find Journal Limited. No such company exists.
How decidedly odd.
I was on my way here, and suddenly there were footsteps behind me and a hand over my mouth.
Somebody tried to kill you last night. Do you have any idea who could have done it?
I don't understand any of it.
I want you to send one more letter to your husband. That empty shop is obviously being used as an accommodation address or letter drop. But what gets dropped must be picked up.
They're doing this in broad daylight. Won't everyone be looking at them?
Hammer. Chisel.
Ooh. I thought it was a window at first. No, it was they're on the rooftop. They sawed through those iron bars so easily.
Look! Canaries! I don't understand how anybody picks up letters here. There's no footprints, just tracks.
I would surmise somebody is using ice skates if it weren't for a conspicuous absence of ice.
Ice skates. Oh, a wheelchair. What a perfect little space for them to hide in.
How many do you want this time?
2 dozen.
What are you doing with all those canaries? What's going on up there?
It's better not to ask questions. 14, 17. In you go. 20.
What do you suppose they're doing up there? And where is up there?
My guess would be Scotland. Didn't you notice the paper at the bottom of their cage? The Inverness Courier.
This letter.
What about it?
It is addressed to you.
To me?
What?
I expect you and Dr. Watson to join me at the club immediately upon receipt of this note. According to my calculations, that should be at 11:40 a.m. Your brother Mycroft.
His brother Mycroft.
11:43.
Either your watch is wrong or Mycroft has miscalculated. I suggest you reset your watch.
So are you saying Mycroft is behind all this?
It has come to my attention that you are interested in the whereabouts of a certain engineer.
Yes, I am.
My suggestion is that you pursue it no further. We are handling the matter ourselves.
We? Who's we?
The Diogenes Club, of course.
I didn't say that.
The Diogenes Club is here, there, and everywhere. When there's trouble along the Indian frontier, some of your fellow members pop up in the Himalayas, allegedly looking for the abominable snowman.
At the age of 5, by carefully observing a neighbor's house, he deduced that babies were brought not by the stork, but by the midwife, in her satchel. Tell them that the 3 boxes go to Glenahurick and the red runner goes to the castle. Sherlock, when I said drop this case, it was not merely a suggestion, it was an order.
By whose authority?
By the authority of Her Majesty's government. I hope I have made myself clear. You forgot your toolkit.
Yeah, that's very convenient. His cane has, what, a chisel, a hammer, everything.
What does the word Glenahurick suggest to you?
Absolutely nothing.
It's Scottish. Glen means valley, Na means of the, and Hurick, if memory serves me, means yew tree.
How about the red runner to the castle?
Don't shoot, Mrs. Hudson. You're liable to lose 2 excellent tenants.
It's been a ghastly experience.
Why, what happened?
Did you ever try doing embroidery with a gun in your hand?
You'll be relieved to know it was not loaded.
But the way she's pointing a gun out there, like somebody could just snatch it away.
At 7:30 this evening, Dr. Watson and I are going to take you to Victoria Station and put you on the boat train.
The boat train?
Well, that's better.
You were going to help me.
Yes, my dear, but circumstances have changed.
The great detective.
What I said was that we are going to put you on the boat train. I didn't say you were going to stay on it.
She's not? Holmes, exactly what are you up to?
As you like to put it in your chronicles, the game is afoot.
But what game?
The game is afoot.
Here it is.
Hi, that's suspicious. She's signaling somebody. I see, it's a setup. She's not really Emil's wife, is she?
Sorry, Father. I mean Friar. Or is it Abbott? My master and mistress and I are on our way to Inverness. Ever been there?
Oh, the vow of silence. Jonah.
I see you're reading the book of Jonah.
Women are never to be entirely trusted. Not the best of them.
The most affectionate woman I ever knew was a murderess. All the time behind my back, she was stealing cyanide to sprinkle on her husband's steak and kidney pie. Kleptomaniacs, nymphomaniacs, pyromaniacs. Take my fiancée, for instance. We were engaged to be married, the invitations were out, and 24 hours before the wedding, she died of influenza.
I'm sorry.
It just proves my contention that women are unreliable.
What?
And not to be trusted.
Because of influenza.
Die Spur führt nach Inverness. Dort steigen die aus. Dort müssen wir ihn finden, den Valadon.
How do you get to Glenahurick?
It's about a mile out of the town, but it's no place for a picnic.
Why not?
Because it's a cemetery.
3 boxes to the cemetery, so maybe they're sending 3 dead bodies? 3 coffins?
3 boxes? Is that it, Holmes?
The 2 small ones. They must be children's coffins.
Probably, yeah.
Sad and rather odd. There were no flowers and no mourners.
A father and 2 sons, they say. They were found floating in the loch. The story is their boat capsized in a swell, but I don't believe it.
Are you trying to tell us it was the monster?
Damn right. MacLennan saw the kids' faces when they were pulled out of the water. Looked just like old men. They must have died of fright.
No, the midgets.
Graves. Why are those boys bringing flowers? Midgets.
Boys with the faces of old men. Would it help if I told you they were acrobats?
From a certain circus.
The question now is, who's in the 3rd grave?
No wonder when they were pulled out of the water, they said the children had faces of old men. What? Is it really Emil?
His wedding ring has turned green.
Wait.
Why, there are 3 dead canaries in the coffin.
Huh?
White canaries.
Bleached? No, there. How does copper turn green? Let me think. I can't remember, but there's a chemical reaction that turns copper green.
You have a lovely view of the loch from here, as soon as the morning mist rolls away.
Just as I thought. There is a distinct difference in colour between your ring and your husband's.
Stop it!
Oh, ouch.
If we are to find out what really happened to your husband, you cannot act the grief-stricken widow.
Sorry.
You don't have to apologize for that.
Holmes, I saw it. I saw it from the attic window. It's out there in the lake.
Oh, the monster. Could it be a submarine periscope?
There. See it?
I see nothing.
Nothing? It's gone.
Gone? Maybe it was never there.
The swell and the boat overturning?
Monsieur Valadon may have been found in the lake, but he did not drown. He died of asphyxiation.
How so?
One substance that can turn a copper ring green and bleach the colour out of canaries. Chlorine gas.
Chlorine.
I saw something out there.
A figment of your imagination.
How can you say it's a figment of my imagination when for years you've been saying I have no imagination whatsoever?
Pretty sure Emil was killed by Mycroft's people. Because Mycroft already said sentry boxes to Glenahurrick. So he probably orchestrated their death. They're visiting every castle. A red runner to the castle.
There's some chaps I met in the train. Trappers, you know. Just study the Bibles.
What is it, dear? What's the matter?
Oh, it be.
Well, I don't think we have to bother with this castle. It's just a pile of rubble.
Then why are they taking all these precautions?
Why, indeed?
Sorry, no visitors allowed.
What are they doing?
It's being restored by the Society for the Preservation of Scottish Monuments.
Probably the Diogenes Club.
About 1400, wasn't it?
That's right.
Built by James II or James III?
The third.
He was off 100 years and one James. It's actually 1500 and James IV. Listen, do you hear anything, Watson?
Canaries. Ooh, acid.
Sulfuric acid, when exposed to salt water, produces chlorine gas.
Oh, isn't it dangerous?
You're gonna catch a death of cold, you know. Wouldn't it be ironic if Holmes' last case were a case of pneumonia? Sorry. Holmes, after it! What are we doing? We should be going away from it!
Keep rowing, damn it!
I already know it's not the monster. But are there submarines in 1887?
Do you have your stethoscope with you?
Never without it.
It's getting closer.
Get back, get back!
Oh, it did overturn the boat.
This beast seems to have a personal grudge against us.
Well, I just hope it doesn't come back.
I would say that the monster, after a hard day's work, has returned home for his supper.
What was the monster doing then? Swan Lake.
We've come across this situation before. At the ballet.
Ballet?
There's a lake, and there's a castle, and there's a swan that isn't really a swan.
It's an enchanted princess.
The stethoscope is a very sensitive instrument, and water is an excellent conductor of sound. There is no doubt that we are dealing with a mechanical monster.
Oh?
The Society for the Preservation of Scottish Monuments, better known as the Diogenes Club.
Yep.
I didn't order it.
No, indeed. You are to deliver it, but there's a carriage waiting for you downstairs.
Are you sure you've got the right Mr. Ashdown?
Quite sure, Mr. Holmes.
He is to deliver the champagne bottle to his brother Mycroft. The Red Runner can't be referring to a red carpet, right? Red Runner to the castle.
The Red Runner, I presume.
Hmm.
You shouldn't have gone to all this trouble just for me.
It's not for you. May I have the champagne, please?
1886.
Mediocre, but then again, it's not for drinking. Tie it up, will you?
What is he gonna use to like smash the hull of a boat that, you know?
I imagine that this belongs to the pretty lady, and this belongs to your valet. We found them floating in the lake.
You're testing some sort of underwater craft, an experimental model operated by a crew of midgets. I think it is powered by sulfuric acid batteries and uses canaries to detect escaping gas.
Ah, canaries.
And Jonah lived in the belly of that fish for 3 days and 3 nights.
That was our goal. And thanks to Valadon's air pump, we got a jump on the rest of them. During a test run in the Murray Firth, pressure caused a leak in the hull, seawater mixed with acid in the batteries to produce chlorine gas. Your client isn't Madame Valadon. It's the Imperial German government. They were after the Belgian engineer, or rather his invention.
Okay, that's why the silent guy was speaking German.
Madame Valadon is dead.
Dead?
The Germans disposed of her 3 weeks ago, in Brussels. The woman who was brought to your house in the middle of the night is in fact Ilse von Hofmannsthal, one of their most skillful agents. And now perhaps you care to join me. I'm expecting a certain royal personage from Balmoral.
Okay, well, the mystery has been unveiled.
What is this curious ship we are supposed to christen?
We call it a submersible, ma'am. It travels underwater.
Underwater?
There she is, ma'am. Her Majesty's ship Jonah.
And it's called Jonah. Yeah, it's a very small submersible.
Is the purpose of that hideous gargoyle?
Merely a decoy, ma'am.
Oh!
This is the main engine which propels it underwater at a rate of 2 knots. The high-voltage acid batteries. The multi-stage compressor.
Canaries! Must make the crew feel at home.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not what they're for.
Is the glass bottom?
The what, ma'am?
You know, to observe the fish.
HMS Jonah is being commissioned as a warship.
Yep.
A warship?
It can seek out enemy ships and destroy them with those torpedoes while remaining completely invisible.
Without showing her colors?
Indeed, ma'am.
It is unsportsmanlike. It is un-English. And it is in very poor taste. Sometimes we despair of the state of the world. What will scientists think of next?
They'll think of much worse.
A rigid balloon which could fly over London and drop a bomb on Buckingham Palace. It is being developed at the express orders of Kaiser Wilhelm II.
Nonsense.
Our agent in Friedrichshafen made a drawing of it. Unfortunately, he was apprehended before he could cross the border.
We shall write a very sharp note to the Kaiser.
If only it was that easy. To promote peace, just write a very stern letter to him and tell him we do not condone your actions. And he'll be like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna do anything like that ever again.
Well, Mycroft, it seems we have both been undone by a woman.
If the Germans want that submersible so badly, why don't we give it to them? Invite them aboard for the final journey. 700 feet. Straight down.
How would you say under the castle? Unter das Schloss or die Schloss? Your Trappist friends are waiting outside to hear from you. It's a chilly morning. We don't want to keep them standing around too long, do we? Fräulein Hofmannsthal.
Oh, that opening and closing was Morse code.
Unter dem Schloss.
I only hope my Morse code is adequate to the occasion.
I suppose once they are in the castle must amuse you, Mr. Holmes. Trappists walking into a trap.
It's more amusing than that. Once in the castle, they will encounter surprisingly little resistance.
You're going to let them have the air pump?
Better than that, we're going to let them have the submersible. I expect they'll try to sail it out of the loch and rendezvous at sea.
Did you say tried to? You knew right from the beginning when that cabby brought me to Baker Street.
Nope.
I was scheduled to go to Japan, but I couldn't resist the challenge of coming up against the best. I'm sorry I didn't give you a closer game.
Close enough.
He sees it again. Oh, they planted explosives.
It's gone forever. Look for yourself.
A
bottle of champagne.
And the Bible.
And a Bible?
How did a bottle of champagne survive?
Fitting end for Trappists. Now they are resting in eternal silence at the bottom of the lake.
Fräulein von Hofmannsthal.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. I'm all ready.
You will be conducted to the Swiss-German border and be exchanged for one of our agents, a man named Ibbotson.
Ah, so you'll get the drawings of the balloon. The submersible was so small though. How did it fit 7 of the Trappists?
If I promise not to write a word about it, would you enlighten me as your friend?
I'm trying to read a personal message.
Message?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Peter! The nerve!
A letter from the Diogenes Club.
Dear Sherlock, my sources in Tokyo informed me that Ilse von Hofmannsthal was arrested last week by the Japanese counterintelligence service for spying on naval installations in Yokohama Harbor. After a secret trial, she was summarily executed by a firing squad. She had been living in Japan these past few months under the name of Mrs. Ashdown.
Where is it, Watson?
May to July 1885.
Oh, it's a bag. I thought they were actual files. Oh, that's where he's hiding the cocaine. Okay. The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. I'm glad it isn't a case that I've read before, so I didn't know what to expect. I made a few guesses, but some were right, some were wrong. It's very interesting to see the insignificant case of the missing midgets from the beginning of the movie, was related to the submersible at the end. The thing with Madame Petrova seems to be just, like a little scene that didn't really come back later on. So that kind of seemed like just an extra incident that didn't affect the story or the plot later on. Their research about the cigar and cigarette ashes also didn't really come into play in the plot. So just a small little thing, I suppose. Some random knowledge that is not used in this case. I see now that the whole time, this Ilse von Hofmannsthal, or aka Gabrielle Gabrielle Valadon, was actually faking it the whole time. I did think it was quite weird that the ticket that she was holding, the number 301 was washed off, but why was the number 221 Baker Street still so clearly written, right? So there was a suspicious point. And then the number 301 on Gabrielle's palm, I suppose, is just a little thing which they made up to give Holmes a little challenge and to make themselves seem less suspicious. The whole thing was an act. The temporary amnesia, her acting, come to me, Emile, and then, purposely showing her palm with the number 301. And she also learned French to further fool Sherlock. I believe everything was explained at the end. The canaries, 3 boxes to Glenahurich, Red Runner to the castle, the sulfuric acid with salt water producing chlorine gas which causes asphyxiation, the Loch Ness monster. Yes, I think basically everything was explained, but the only thing that I'm wondering is how did the 7 Trappists, the 7 monks, fit into that tiny submersible? It must be super cramped in there. And then they all sunk to the bottom of the lake. I suppose Holmes did have feelings for Ilse. Maybe not love, but more like a fondness. And that's why when he found out that she was executed, he got really sad and upset. This is quite an interesting unraveling of mystery. It was nice to just sit back, relax, and try to figure out the clues, try to figure out the truth of the case. Overall, to me, this was a pretty relaxing watch today. I know there have been plenty of Sherlock Holmes series and maybe other movies, and a lot of different people played different Sherlock Holmes and different Watsons. But what do you think about this version of Sherlock Holmes? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for watching it with me. Hope you enjoyed the reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.